Good evening. This is the Elliott wave update for the NASDAQ 100 and the S&P 500 for Monday, March the 4th, 2024. I am going to start with the NASDAQ, excuse me, and I'm on the hourly chart. And just to do a quick review, that first of all, the market did clear up what I believe are a lot of questions about where we were in the sequence of things on the way up. Nothing on a little bit larger picture has changed. So just to kind of give a quick review here on the hourly chart, I'm basically concerned right now with past the minute fourth wave. With the minute fourth wave bottomed and completed on the 21st of February of this year. And that took place at 17,427.50. So from that level, we've been involved in a minuet fifth wave up. And as we already know, the larger picture, all of the minor fifth wave has been forming, in my opinion, an expanding triangle, a diagonal, which is to finish minor wave 5, or not only, first of all, minute wave 5, minor wave 5, intermediate wave C, and then primary wave B. So that still remains my big picture. I've been tracking and counting out the primary B wave from October of 2022. So here we are in the minute fifth wave, which is this final sequence up to complete a very long-term, to me, picture. So it's been over a year. And right now it's been a year and a half. And so we're really kind of just chugging along now, reaching that level. So let me just drop down to the 15-minute chart. So that's where I'm going to go. And so basically, I'm just looking right in here to see all that has happened in here. And then basically my focus turns to just what we've done off of last, it would have been last Thursday's lows at 17,826. So first I'm going to focus on this whole fifth wave. So we finished the minute 4. We started up. I'm still quite satisfied with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was no, mind you, that we're looking for a minute fifth wave. Inside of that minute fifth wave are going to be 3 waves because it's a triangle, and they will be of minuet degree. And to add one more layer onto that, because it's an expanding triangle, waves 1, 3, and 5 will produce 3 waves labeled ABC, but the structure will be zigzag, which suggests that A and C are going to be 5 waves, with wave B being 3 or a combination of a 3-wave rollout. And that's really what happened. And that B wave was as complex as, well, not as, it was very complex. And the C wave is now beginning to show some of the same complexities as this market reaches its completion point. Now, it doesn't get any stranger than this, to be honest with you. As I have been talking, it's like, here we are, where we are really completing a very long-term move. The whole thing, began on October of 2022. And it was towards the end of October 2022. And prior to that, so the whole thing, the primary B wave, is coming in as an irregular B wave. And what that means is that this B wave has pushed the market to new all-time highs above where cycle wave 3 completed. Cycle wave 3 in the NASDAQ completed at 16,767. We've now reached a high up to 18,377. So we are quite a bit above that level. But everything continues to fit on a Fibonacci basis. We have surpassed the 1.236. So right now, we're between the 1.236 level for this irregular move and the 1.382. We've already discussed that there is the possibility. It's out there. I'm not saying this is what the market is going to do, but technically, I have to include this in any upside analysis because we saw a quick turn today, but it can turn just as fast, head back in the other direction, and blow off all expectations and just go to the moon. Why? Well, primarily because not only are these indexes at all-time highs where we've never been before. So in other words, each time we go to a new all-time high, where are we going to hang our hat on resistance? So again, it falls back to our Fibonacci relationships. And here, and when I use Elliott, those relationships are between the waves. And the Fibonacci relationships are between the waves that I'm counting. For example, when we finish a fourth wave and we're now looking to see where can this fifth wave go or get to, the Fibonacci relationship suggests that the fifth wave will be related to the first wave. And so we draw our resistance or support levels accordingly to from the first wave, and then we move it over and connect it to the bottom or the top of that fourth wave. And that gives us the levels for wave 5. And then we can look at what are the most common. So, and we can do the same thing with a C wave. A C wave's distant cousin or closest relationship comes to the A wave. C waves are related to the A waves, whether or not the zigzag or flat or whatever the situation is, those two are still related. So, and they have similar characteristics. So when we're putting together a Fibonacci picture, particularly here in no man's land, so to speak, I use those fibs and I use the most common, the second most common, and the third most common. Okay, so back to what we're doing. So we did complete. All right, so this is now going to get sticky. Because I'm going to, there you go. I want to go this way. So, excuse me. So here we are. We have finished minuet wave A. We finished minuet wave B, which was very complicated. But it did end up being a W, X, Y, and a Z. But in essence, to me, really what it was a triple ABC. And for wave B, not super common. And even within, like the Z wave, was its own double. And so it got complicated. It got complicated. But it did release it, was able to be labeled, and here it is. And again, I do give credit for this particular segment, this B wave. The actual labeling came from my colleague who works together with me in our trade room, Sasha Goring. So he did give me this count. And I sat, I listened, I looked, and it was extremely detailed. This is just the highlights, folks. Every single one of these got counted, and we wouldn't be able to read the chart. But very detailed, very clean, and very accurate. So I am keeping it right there. So from this low, we entered into minuet wave C of minute wave 5, the finishing move. Minuet wave C will break down into 5 waves of sub-minuet degree. Here we go. I originally had placed the one up here and the 2 down here, and that got this a little bit too crowded, and then this did no longer fit. Now, as I left it on, I believe it was Saturday, so it would have been the last time that I updated this, I had left a 3 here but with the possibility that we needed one more little down and one more slight new high to finish the third wave, and then we got a larger fourth wave correction. Well, that I moved this down and that opened it up to clean it up to realize that that's exactly what it was, but not of a sub minuet, but of a sub minuet level. So here we have sub minuet 1, 2. Then it starts to break down. Sub minuet 1, 2, 3, 4, and we got the 5. Yep, that was over the weekend. And so we had Friday a little bit after hours, and then we had Sunday Globex. And so it kind of came up, but it did make a slight new high when the European markets opened last night. Well, our night. So what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I'm going to go over and let's just kind of open that up a little bit. I want to be able to show some inside to all of this. So I'm actually going to do this. Oh, come on, please, computer. It's all in the mouse. When the mouse doesn't want to agree with what I'm trying to send to the computer, there we go. So again, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And yep, I know, I see that, but I call it an anomaly, but it was a big tail. And I can take it over to the close, or the line chart, which is the close, and it's much cleaner, and it does count as 5. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, wave 3. Now, initially it was ABC. Okay, we could be done. And then it started to rally. It'll kind of come up, and maybe another one. Okay, maybe it can be done. And then it started to rally. And then I thought, okay, we got the 1. Now we come off at a little 2. Now we're going to start to rally again. And they got up and they only equaled that high. And then kaboom, started selling hard. And really, if you watched what really was kind of going on, they decided to whack NVIDIA. Now, NVIDIA was massively higher today, along with several stocks, but NVIDIA was trading got up to 870. I have to go back and look. I am so sorry. Stick with me because this is all important data. It got as high as 876, so almost 877. The resistance was at 880. So you basically could say, as a good friend of mine, a good trading buddy of mine, she always says, good enough for government work. I got to love her because it's so accurate. And when it happens, you're like, yep, good enough, close enough. And so it almost got there and it just started to sell off. Now, back to the NASDAQ, because there's one other thing I want to add with a lot of these NASDAQ stocks that was going on today. It's incredible to see. And the volatility, I have to tell you, the volatility in these options is through the roof in some of them. And so that does not contribute. It does, in one way, contribute to both sides of the market. But what it really contributes is to the underlying volatility and how fast these markets are going to move in both directions. So keep that in mind. So here we are once again. Open up this so we can see what was going on inside. So if we finish 3, I'm looking for a 4. Now, I'm looking for a 4, and I just want to add to this, right? It's going to be the sub-minuet wave 4. So I'm got to come down to the bottom of wave 2, right there, and I'm going to add just my straight fibs. All right, so let's see where they line up. These are just the straight fibs that I'm looking for. Now, on this level, I would be looking for a move down to 382, 38.2% retracement of this third wave. There it is. 18,194. Now, we sold off pretty hard. Now, what I've also done is I've come down in an A, and then we had an A, B, C, B, irregular B inside this little tiny, a little larger B wave. So if this is sub, this is sub. I mean, we can just keep going. You know, it keeps going and you can get smaller and more granular. Because don't forget, it's a series of building blocks. That's what Elliott wave is, a series of building blocks. So one even teeny tiny little move just produces the next little teeny tiny 1 degree higher and then 1 degree higher. Eventually, we're back out to our recognizables, which are minute, minor, and then intermediate, etc., and then on up. So we can get down there, and that's what I'm doing in this particular case, which I often end up getting into because we're very close to some major turning points, in my view. So coming down, there's the A. In a regular B wave, right? There's the A, B, C, B, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, C up to right there. So that's where I put the sub minuet B. So we're looking for that C wave. All C's must be 5. This is on my 15-minute chart. I can break it down to the 5-minute chart, and we can see what it's going to look like. But again, I'm going to open it this way. Now let's take a look inside here. All right. So in all honesty, this could be the completion point. And then we get a 1, 2. It could be coming down, and 1, 2, and then this starts the 3. We get a little 4, we get a 5, and it's going to be an ABC down. Or here we have it going up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the C wave going up. And now we're going to start our sequence down. So how does that work out? Well, on my 15-minute chart's a little bit difficult. Guess what you can do? You go down and you go look at that 5-minute chart. All right, right here. So what do we got? We basically got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We could, and that would be more concise with, well, you know what? They reached that low, boy, they just kind of move in and start buying it again. What were they buying? Well, look, they were buying NVIDIA. They had to at least get it up to where it closed, regular session. They traded it down to like 847, 845, somewhere down in there, and then they started buying it back. Okay, no problem. If it finishes and I can put a C there, guess what goes underneath it? A wave 4. And then what are we going to do? We are going to start to rally. Let me bring it back to the 15-minute chart. Open that back up because now we need to look in and figure. But I don't want to go there yet. Now, where's it finding support? We got a 15-minute 200. And these are the exponentials. So these are EMAs. Now I switched them back out. This one is a SMA, I believe. No, I think these are all EMAs. And so we're back where we're getting ready to start to break below the 200 again. Because I guess we got the 50s all the way like down here. Oh no, that's a trend line, excuse me. So the 200 and the 50s way up here. It gets a little bit crazy as to where these moving averages weaving through all of this mess. But the 200's gone flat, so it is now beginning to provide some support on a 15-minute chart. Now, if that completed it, then what I get to do next is draw 1, because it's going to be a 4 here. And that would put us into the finishing move up. Now, that 5th wave can extend. The 5th wave can get as big as it wants to. And I'm just going to, just as a possibility, okay? First of all, let me just say, normal, we got a little tiny cluster right here between 18,194 and 18,189. So we got a 5-point window right there where this could come down. If it holds, we can put a 4 here, and then it starts to launch, okay? So 2 factors. I'm going to take that off. And now I want to take this off, realizing 89, okay? Well, actually, I'll leave it on so I can use it as a marker. Now, let's just say, this is all, we're just saying, if that holds, then I draw my numbers. We can use this 89. And then, so that's not going to work. So I can start to take that off. We can clean this up right away. Get rid of 618, not going to come into play. Not here. So we have 100%, 1.618, 2.618. That's here we begin to match up. 100% is basically out there by itself, but it is above this 3. It's well above. So it's 18,436. Could that complete it? Well, we'll be looking at the structure. That's what we got left. We look at the structure to see how it does, and what it looks like coming into there. What do we have above it? 1.618. Bing. Look where we're starting to get into now. Previous established, right? The C wave. Wow, check it out. C wave is coming in at 18,597. That we gave out on Saturday. Well, now, if this is going to complete it, if it gets completing right here at that 18,000, well, then 1.618 for this wave 5 comes in at 18,588. And the other one's 97. Wow, that's within 10 points. Wow, I love when fibs come together. What do we got sitting above all that? We've got the upper trend line. Wow. Okay, so we've got some markers now. Now on the way, let me just kind of pull this open a little bit. See if I can get back far enough. Yep. Here we have the minute fifth wave, 18,527. Well, it would surpass it, so that fulfills that destiny, so to speak. We're already fulfilling this one because we're going to get past it at 18,376. So you see how it all starts to line up. I've never said that's where it can end. That's where this level will find resistance. And let me just go back out to my hourly chart so I can see what level that is. 376. I got to go out even further. It might be that minor. It is. It is the minor. So let me bring it all the way back down. Wow. So I'm going to go for 4 back up. This is the minor fifth wave. Would be 1.618 times the length of the minor first wave. This is how this works. So it's not like I just pull this out of my head. They're there, and they've been there. So this resistance level remains active, and it could be exceeded. So it doesn't disqualify that level. As I continue to tell you, or to share, that what really it breaks down to as we're tracking this all the way up is the structure. And now the structure is saying, well, we should exceed that level, but it does fulfill the minor degree. And then we get up here, and if we get past it, it does fulfill the minute degree on the next higher level up, right? We did 1.618, 1.618. And then here, we've got 100% for the C wave, but at the same time, it's a 1.618 again for a fifth wave. A sub-minuet fifth wave to finish a minuet C wave, which just happens to be right there. So here we are, finishing the C wave, finishing the sub-minuet, finishing the minuet, finishing the minor, minute, finishing the minor. And we know that we're finishing the C wave, the intermediate C wave, and the primary B wave. So we're getting there. We're getting there. We have plenty of reason for things blowing through, and I discussed it on Saturday. That's still alive. And we're just moving, bouncing it all up to the 1.618s. There's the 2.618 for the sub-minuet. Wave 5. There it is for wave C. There it is for the primary B wave. And there it is for the minute. Minor's going to be up higher. So again, as we get up, they still continue to fall in alignment with each other in one way or another. So they're all still valid. But this is going to get good. And now we're going to be able to see the power of what the Elliott and what the fibs are telling us and how the market starts to react. We saw a sudden turn right there going into the close. All right, just like bam. And it dropped over 100 points. Came back, but it dropped over 100 points real quick. That's 15:30 in an hour. And then the bell rang and they continued to drop it. So that's the NASDAQ. Moving averages, they're all pretty much still kind of remaining in line. Let's go over and take a look at the S&P. It truly is the same thing. And so here we are. I'm just going to kind of remain in here. That's the minute 4. There's the A wave, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the A wave, and then also very complicated XYZ, WXYZ. And the Z was kind of complicated, but there you have it. Now, that was the B wave, all right? Minuet wave A, minuet wave B, of minute wave 5. Also expanding triangle. Staying within the boundaries, staying everything's looking good. We're in the C wave. It must also consist of 5 waves. It's a zigzag. We're there. I also moved it down. I had 1 here, 2 here. I moved them down. Cleaner. It's a tight, but it works, and it counts. I know, I'm all the way down on a 5-minute chart. That's where I had to go. So what we have, sub-minuet wave 1, sub-minuet wave 2. Then it breaks down again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this one was a beautiful fifth wave up, right? We came in, boom. They ran it, and the resistance was 51,000, I believe, 60. When it got to 57.75, may even been 58, somewhere in there, but here we are. So we got up there, made another new high in the index, and then kablooey. So let me just kind of go from here, open it up. Bing, 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 bing. Same as the NASDAQ. Drop, 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 real fast. So it had ended up down 11. The NASDAQ ended up down all over 100. They're buying it, starting to buy it back. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm looking at a straight wave 4. Here we got it. We've already got past 236. The next one up is 0.382. That's 55.24. And it basically, look where it got to, folks. It stopped right there at the previous 4th of 1 lesser degree. This is a sub, and this is the sub-sub. It stopped. And it could. I could break this down to that 5-minute again, and we could go check on the inside. If it is an ABC down, and that's where it's going to finish, and we end up putting a 4 there. It fulfilled in terms of an Elliott basis. It came right down to it. If not, then we still maybe need to get down to the 382, which brings us in line with the 15-minute 200 SMA. So, and that sits at 26 with the support at 24. So it could go down, hit it, bounce off of it, and then get itself back above there, and then we're done in terms of wave 4. And that leaves us with a 5th wave. So again, I'm going to use this one as I did over with the NASDAQ. As we start to compile what we think, actually, I don't need it, but I'll do it anyway. Okay, there to there, and over to here. Okay, so 618, I'm going to get rid of it because it's got to go above it. Get rid of both of those. So here's the 100%. So it is a new high. And then we're starting to get inside these lovely wave C is 100%. No, that's not wave C. Wave C, I do have them. Where are they? I think I gotta go back out to my hourly chart. Let's check this out. This is for minute, this is for minor, this is for wave C, and this C wave Where is it? Is it really up all that? Oh, it is. Huh? That C wave's all the way up at 52.50. Well, that's where C will equal A. Doesn't have to. So the next one actually would be that C is equal to 0.618 of A. So let me just see something just for the fun of it. I'm going to put it back up and let's see where it comes in. Oh, just above here. So that's where it stopped. Isn't that interesting? Wow. Okay. So the 618, and guess what? It did do 5. Wow. Okay. All right, S&P, you're on the hook here. Let's get rid of that. I wouldn't suspect because it's 58. And that would have been 0.618. That's not the most common. The most common is 100%. The second most common is 1.618. The third most common is 0.618. But again, it's all about the structure. And it's still, I'm counting at best as 1, 2, 3. We put in a 4 and we still have that fifth. Where can we start to find? Well, let's open this back up again. I want to go back down, back to my 15-minute, where I can open all this up and we can see it. All right, so there we have the support. If there's a continuation of this small fourth wave, 51.24 is the area. Now, as we start to move ourselves back up, and I believe, didn't it do it? Yes, I did. So 100%, where wave 5 would equal 100% of wave 1 is 51.70. I'm gonna round this up a whole 27 cents. 51.70 to 51.72 to 51.79. This is where we start to have our minors and our minute fifth waves start to come in here. I believe this is the C wave, 51.87. Then we are back over 100, and 1.618 is 51.97. What else we got? So this zone starts to be more strong. Now, if we get a blow off, which we could, then it really can push through there, this, and get itself up closer to this. But look at where we got to today. We got to almost 51.58 today. If we have another strong day where the S&P climbs again, then yeah, 69 to 79 in the picture. But it'd have to be another 50. It'd have to be a 50-point day plus. So it might take a couple days to get up there. Mind you, I was thinking that the whole month of March could be very significant in terms of like building, and then push. So maybe we just kind of go sideways again, but who knows? But because for whatever reason, they came into NVIDIA and just kind of like blow it up. Get up to that Fibonacci at 880 and got close. Now, I want to just talk for a moment on volatility. This is Broadcom. These expire Friday. The volatility, I was looking at spreads. I come down here, the volatility on the individuals is almost at 100%. This is a stock that's trading 1400. And if you look at these charts to see, I know you don't have to hang out if you don't want to, but this is all interesting stuff. Look at this chart. This is the 15-minute. Let me pull this out to the hourly chart. We're talking that on February the 21st, the stock was at 1,200. Stock hit 1,400 on March the 4th. From the 21st of February, so it's a week, it's put on 200 points. If I even take this out now to a 4-hour chart, right? Let's take from that low. That low was September. September was trading 700. So from September to March, it's 500 points. It's like, wow. It's a lot. It's a great, these are huge moves. That's Broadcom. Now, here's another of our favorites, right? NVIDIA. NVIDIA was trading 645 just before their earnings on the 21st of February. Today, it touched 877. From 650 to 877 in a week and a couple of days. That's pretty impressive. And left to its own devices, right? Could it go to 1,000? Yeah, anything's possible. I want to go back over. This one's not. I'll show you the big winner of the day in terms of my book on volatility. Here it's at 56. 56. I'm like, oh, okay, no, not so bad. But it is. It's high enough where the premium is so worth it playing. But this is the one I want to show you. Super microchip. Super microcomputer. Now, check out the price of the stock, 1,074. It hit 1155 today. So stock's up 170 on that close. 159% volatility. So I want to just show you. We take, yeah, I know I got to scroll and scroll and scroll. These, again, you don't have to hang out, but this is what I'm finding fascinating. The 960 call, which expires on Friday, is offered at $136 or $137. The stock is basically over 100 points out of the money. But because of how this thing has been moving at 160, 169, 170 points, even more, right? So you have to consider that that's the high, and there's the low, and that's 25 plus 55. It's 80 points higher, so it was up over 200 today. 19 million shares. This is blow-off type stuff. Now, this chart, we have to consider what it did the last time that it kind of ran up. That was here. This was February the 16th, where the stock ran up to, this was a Friday or a Thursday or whatever the day was. It was a Friday. Ran up to 1,080, but closed at down, and then proceeded the following day to just go down back to 695. And now it goes up, flies back down, runs up, and I imagine it's going to come flying back down. This is what I think tops are kind of composed of. When you get into this craziness, these movements, it's just like it's pretty wild, and the volatility is crazy. And if you're an options trader and you really understand how to put these positions on and how to manage them, there is untold amounts of money that can be made. And there are a lot of people out there that are going to tell you, oh, yeah, on NVIDIA, we made 146%. And SMCI made 300 and some odd percent. It's like, okay, yep, that's possible. And it's possible because the volatility is 160%. And that's where I'm going to finish this up. So, sorry if you stayed. I'm glad I could provide whatever little additional information. S&P and the NASDAQ, let's look to see if we can get a low in for that wave 4. I do not believe that it's all done. I can't say definitively that it isn't. Or I can't say definitively that it is. But if they start to break, and we start to break below 5,100, and we start to break below 50, it's going to be really putting pressure on anything more happening to the upside. But again, really, in my opinion, if it just starts falling, it certainly can out of its own weight. It's been up so high, and that means it just drops on its own weight, that I think it would have to be accompanied by some form or some kind of catalyst, and that catalyst can come from so many different areas right now. So, and I wouldn't be expecting it economically. any type of economic news or something like that. If it were to come out and be serious, it would be a surprise, right? And it would really jolt the market. So bear that all in mind. And in the meantime, trade smart. That's all I got to say. Trade smart. Honor stops and make good money. There is good money to be made on all the different levels. All right, I really am going to finish now. And the next update will be on Tuesday, March the 5th.